In this video series, you're going to learn how to create a simple WordPress membership site using a free plugin that's been modified so that the IPN part of it works and integrates smoothly with PayPal. Now the first step is going to be to install WordPress. So there are two ways to do this. You can do it using Fantastico, or you can do it the manual way, and I'm going to show you how to do both. First, if you sign into your cPanel, if you have cPanel access, your cPanel may look slightly different, but if you have Fantastico, this is the easiest way to do it. We'll click on Fantastico, and then click on WordPress down the left side here. And then you'll see new installation, so click on that. Up here you have your domain name where you're going to install it. And here you have a folder name. If you put something in the folder name, then it will be installed in a subdirectory. In other words, the domain here is thebestinfoon.info. And if I put demo in here, then the URL to this WordPress blog will be thebestinfoon.info/demo. If I wanted it to be in the home page, just inside thebestinfoon.info, I would leave this install directory blank. Next, you need to give it your administration username and password. So we'll just go with admin. Make this secure if you can. I'm just going to use password so that I can remember it, but don't use that on your own WordPress blog. Down here you have your admin nickname. So you could use your own name here or whatever you want. We'll just use admin. The admin email address you put in here. The site name, you just put it in here. So I just put in WordPress membership site demo, and then you can have a description or a tagline down here. Okay, and we'll install WordPress. Next page comes up, tells you that it's going to create a database, and it shows you where it's going to put it. Click Finish Installation. And now your WordPress blog is installed. So if we click right here, this is the back end part. And now we can sign in with admin and password. And then we're into the back end of our WordPress blog and everything's set up and ready to proceed. Okay, now that's the easy way. Now let's look at installing it using the files themselves. To install it manually, you need to go to wordpress.org. Then you can download WordPress 2.51 or whatever the current version is at the time by clicking this link here and download it to a computer. So just go ahead and download it to your desktop or somewhere where you want it to reside. I suggest that you get the zip install. And now that we have it downloaded, we're going to unzip it and then we will upload the files to our server. So just unzip the zip file that you have. Most newer computers have a built-in unzip function. All you have to do is click on the zip file, it'll unzip it for you, and then this is what you'll see. Okay, so let's just go inside there. And these are all the files that you're going to upload up to your server. So what you need to do now is you need to have an FTP client. What you see in front of you now is an FTP client called FileZilla. And you can get that at filezilla-project.org. Here it is here, and you can just download the client. Okay, so let's go back to FileZilla. Now to use this, on one side you have your local site, and the other side you have your remote site, and you just swap files back and forth. So what we need to do is we need to set up our server. Just go into File and Site Manager. Then this is where your sites are. So create a new site, and then you give it the host name, which is your domain name, where your hosting account is. And down here, you want to set your login type. So here you would put your username and your password that you log into your hosting account with. Then once you've done that, you just click connect. Okay. Now you see that our server is over on this side. So we just double click there, and then we find where our web documents are on this server. They're in public_HTML. Your server may be different, and if you don't know where that is, you need to find out from your server provider. Okay, and then you can move these things up and down by grabbing a hold of them, holding down your left mouse button and moving them around. So what we want to do is we're going to make a new folder, and we'll just right click here, click create directory, and then we'll call this demo2. I'm not actually going to use this, I'm just using this to give you an example here. So we'll go up, we'll find demo2, double click on that. Then over here on our local site, we need to find our files that we want to upload. So first of all, we'll just go to our C drive and then we'll track it down from there. Okay, and then you just go ahead and you tree down to where your files are that you want to upload. Okay, so here we are. We'll go inside WordPress. These are all the files that we want to download here. So all we have to do is click on one of these and then do a select all by holding down the control key and then clicking the letter A. Then if you right click here, you just click upload. You'll notice that they went down into the queue down here, and if you look on the right side, things are now being uploaded to our server. Okay, so now that everything's uploaded, let's go and install it. So let's go to our browser, then we'll type in the URL to that site. So thebestinfo.info in this case, /demo2. Okay, it's telling us that it needs to create a configuration file. Now what we want to do is we're going to make a directory writable so that it can do this. So let's go back to FileZilla, and then let's go to, just go up one directory here, find demo2, right click on it, and then click on File Attributes. Just temporarily give this 777. Click OK. And go back to here. Let's click Create a Configuration File. And now it's going to want our database information. So we have to go to the C panel again, and then we have to create a MySQL database. So click on that, and then we'll go down here and we're going to create a database. So let's just call this demo2. Create the database. Then we need to create a username and password for that. So create users, and we'll just call it demo2 as our username. And then you would select a secure password here, but I'm just going to use demo2 to keep things easy. I don't suggest that you do that though. Okay, then click go back. Now what we need to do is attach the database to the password. So go down and to here, and out of the drop down list you would get demo2 and demo2. Make sure they have all as the privileges, and then add user to database. Okay, now up here we now have database demo2, and you'll see that it has a prefix on it, which is usually our hosting information. You're going to need this whole thing. So here's our database name. So copy this, and then we're going to click on Let's Go over here. The database name, so we'll paste that in there. Our username, which in this case is the same. As you can see here. So Copy that whole string in there. Our password, we just set as demo2. There's no prefix on that. Database host is localhost, and that's almost always going to be right. You can check that by rolling to the bottom here, and you'll see the localhost. So that's correct. Our table prefix we'll just leave as WP underscore. We'll click submit. Now all we got to do is click run the installation. Okay, so now we give our title, so we'll just call it, again, whatever. We'll just call it WordPress demo. Then you put your email in here. And then decide if you want your blog to be in the search engines by clicking that. Click install WordPress. It says WordPress has been installed. Username is admin. There's your password. Copy that into your clipboard. This has also been emailed to the email address you put in there. So click login. Now click admin. Paste your password in here. Click login. Now the first thing I would do is I would go and I would change my password to something you can remember. And click update profile. Okay, so now we have our blog installed the manual way. Okay, so now we should go back to FileZilla. I'll have to reconnect here. Okay, and then go back to where our site resides, which is in demo 2. And right click and then file attributes, and then you need to turn this to 755 again, otherwise it's wide open to the world. 755, and you can use the check marks as well to do that. And the permissions now changed. Okay, so that's how you install it the manual way. In the next video we'll continue with setting up our membership site now that we have our site created. Now to make our site work, we need to install plugins. Plugins extend our functionality and will also add the membership software that we need on here. Now the membership plugin came with this package. You also need to download some others, and there's some download links in the resources document. So just download all of those into one folder. So I've done that. We have Easy PayPal 3.2 Fixed, which is the one that came with this package, and then you have links to download all these other ones. So what we want to do now is we want to unzip all of these and have their folders resident on here as well. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I've unzipped all of these and we have their folders on here. So the next step is to open up FileZilla again. Then we want to find the plugins on our computer, and then we want to get the server side over here. So there's our plugins. Over here we want to go to our demo, and then from there we want to go to WP content. Next we want to go into plugins, and here's where we're going to upload things. So what we want to do is we want to go inside of each of these, because there's a directory inside here which is the one we want to upload. So click on that one and then click upload, or just click add to queue. And then Easy PayPal, same thing. You need to actually go in 2 levels inside that one to find the Easy PayPal directory. You can click add to queue. Email users, right click, add to queue. Google Sitemap Generator, right click, add to queue, and WP Users Online, right click, add to queue. Now if you just go up here and click on the little queue up here, if they're not uploading, just click on that and you'll see that things start to transfer up there for us. Okay, so everything is now uploaded since our queue is empty. Now we can go back to WordPress. And now if we go into plugins, you'll see that all of our plugins now appear here. Now what we have to do is activate them, and then we have to set them up. So let's activate these one by one. You notice that it turns a light green color once they're activated. Okay, Hello Dolly, you're not going to activate. And we're not going to activate the online widgets for WP Users Online. So we should have activated All-in-One SEO Pack, Easy PayPal, Email Users, Google XML Sitemap, WP Users Online, and that's it. Okay, so now it's time to go and start setting them up and configure them. So let's start with the All-in-One SEO Pack. So we go to Settings. You'll see that some of our plugins are along the top here. So let's go to All-in-One SEO. This allows you to set up your page so that it's search engine optimized. It allows you to set different parameters for your home page, as well as give it some extended description, which WordPress doesn't offer, and give it some keywords for the home page. It also search engine optimizes things down here for you on its own, and you can change it the way you want. For instance, you have your post title followed by your blog title with a pipe in the middle. So you can change any of these that you want as well. Now, a lot of these you don't really need to even bother with because it's already preset for you. You can use your categories for meta keywords if you want by clicking this. Okay, so let's just go to the top here. And what I would do is I would give it a description and keywords, and that is all I would do to set up my WordPress site. The rest of it I would leave as it is because it's pretty much pre-configured for us. Okay, so I would have my description and then keywords that make sense for my page. Other than that, I pretty much leave this alone. You can set other things in here if you want, but that's all I ever do. So just click Update. Now let's go and look at the Users Online. There's not really anything you have to do in here either. Although you can change some of the parameters if you want. But I always leave these alone. There's several things you can set here, and these are the parameters you can use. But if we just have a look at it, let's just go to the dashboard. You can see that WP Users Online is right here, and it just says one member's online now, which happens to be me, the admin. But right on the dashboard, it's also showing down here. Okay, so that's what it does for you. Basically, it allows you to see which search engines and people are on your site as guests or as members at any time. This is an optional thing. You don't have to install that if you don't want. Let's go back to Settings. Now let's go to the XML sitemap. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to give it a customized location. And you'll see down at near the bottom here, location of your sitemap. Now what we need to do is we need to put it in a writable directory or the thing's not going to work. Now one way we could do it is to make our main directory demo with permission 777, but that puts our blog at risk. So what we want to do is we want to create another directory below it. So let's go back to our file manager, and then let's go, this is back in our plugins directory, so let's back up here, and then this is where our blog's installed inside demo. So let's create one now, and I'm just going to call it sitemap, but you might want to call it something else so that it's a little bit secret, but just for demonstration purposes I'm going to call it sitemap, and I'm going to create it. You can also do this with FileZilla. Okay, so let's find our sitemap directory, and I'll click on it, and then we'll change the permissions to 777. And to do that, all we have to do is click on all the boxes inside here. Okay, so all 9 boxes are checked, and you can see it says 777 and change. Okay, now let's go back, and right before sitemap.xml, right after demo, put a slash and sitemap, or whatever you named your directory. So now we have demo slash sitemap.xml. You need to do the same thing here. So demo slash sitemap.xml. Now make sure that you click custom location or this isn't going to work. Okay, and then you can, down here you can tell it what you want included in there and how often you want things to be changed. I always change the post to daily, and then anything else is pretty much can be left alone. And then I update the options. Okay, back to our control panel, because there's one more thing we need to do. We need to go into our sitemap folder. We need to create 2 files. We need to create a file called sitemap.xml and sitemap.xml.gz. So we just click on create a new file like we did here, and then over on the right side here we can type the file name in here like so, and we'll create. So there's our first file. Then we need to create another file called sitemap.xml.gz like we see here, and click create. And then we have to change the permissions, so we'll just click on them, and then we'll change the permissions. We'll change the permission to 777 by clicking all the boxes. Click on the other file, change the permissions again to 777. Now, if you're not using a cPanel, you need to create the files. You can create them using Notepad and just save them to your computer and upload them using FileZilla. Just open Notepad and then save an empty file as sitemap.xml and create another file called sitemap.xml.gz and save it as an empty file. Then upload them with FileZilla and change the file permissions that way. Okay, now let's go back and rebuild our sitemap. So we'll click here. Okay, so our sitemap's been built for us and everything's ready. Now if we go have a look at our files, and we'll just click on that one and then we'll click edit just to look what's inside. And you'll see that it's built the sitemap for what's in our site so far. So this automatically pings Google for us and we have nothing further to do with the sitemap. Okay, one more thing to set up before we go and start setting up our membership site in the next video. We'll go to email users. Not really anything you have to change in here. You got the format that you're going to send them in. Here you have your blind carbon copy limit. Here's a default notification here. You can change that if you want. Here we have the message that we have above there, just showing you here. And down here you have the different variables that you can use and your capabilities down here. Now what we can do here, if we go into, it's in right, We can write an email to all of our users from right inside of our blog. We have a list of recipients down here if we had any on here yet, but you can click the ones you want to send to, and then you can hold the control key down and click all the ones you want to send to. Your subject here and your message down here. Send it out, away you go. So that's as simple as that. This way you can communicate with the members of your site right from within the site. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do on the next video is we're going to start setting up the membership side of our site. Okay, now it's time to set up our actual membership part. So we'll go back into settings again. And what we have to do is set up our membership plugin. So go into Easy PayPal Configuration. And for this demonstration, I'm going to use the PayPal Sandbox for my testing accounts. But if you leave this unchecked, it uses your regular PayPal account if you want to test it using 2 PayPal accounts that you own. So the first thing you need to do is do that. Check that if you're going to use the PayPal Sandbox. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign into the PayPal Developer Network and use the Sandbox. Okay, so I'll put my email address in here for my PayPal account. We give it an item name. Whatever you want to call it. An item number for PayPal. It's optional. Let's just call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, or whatever you want. The amount you're charging for the payment on your membership site. So let's say $12.49. And then US dollars or whatever your currency code, just type it in there. Number of days, so we're going to go 30 days in this case. Down here, if you're going to have a trial period, you would put it in here. Here you have a login message or a user message. What happens is when somebody first registers for your site, this is a message they will see before they're directed to PayPal. You can also add a login message down here. Under the exception list, this allows people that are in the exception list to see the pages without having to pay. And down here, categories, and we'll get to that a little later, and we'll get to these other things a little bit later. Now, so this is fine the way I want it, so I'm going to update that. Now what I have to do is I have to get this IPN URL, so I'm just going to copy the link location. Then I have to go into my PayPal account and set up the IPN, or the instant payment notification, to get this to work. So I'm going to go into my Sandbox account or your PayPal account, whichever you're using to start with, and then I'll sign in here and set up the IPN, and it looks exactly the same whichever account you use. So first log in. Then go into your profile. Then down here go into instant payment notification. Now you want to edit this. Click this box and then paste the URL you just copied into here. Click Save. And now your instant payment notification is now pointing to the IPN notification on that site to make sure that your users are automatically enabled. Okay, so let's go back here. And now we're basically all set as far as this is concerned for our monthly site. Now what we have to do is we would want to have some content. So let's go and first let's set up a couple of categories. We'll add a one called paid members. And we'll rename uncategorized. And we'll just call it everyone else. Public, we'll call it. Okay. Next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to manage our pages. Delete this thing. And then posts. Delete that. And that'll delete the comments under it. And now we're going to write some new stuff. Now what you might want to do is write a page to make your home page. So click on Write, then Page, and then a title for your home page, say home page title. And then some sort of introduction in here. Now if this is going to be the actual selling page of your membership site, then you put your whole sales page in here. If it's only going to be available to your members, you're going to have a different sales page and a link that points to this page, then you can just put your introduction here. It depends how you want to set it up. Okay, so let's just save our page, just publish it. And then what we want to do is go back to settings and set our static home page. So go to reading and then click a static home page or a static page and then select the front page. We'll just call it our home page. We'll save our changes. Okay, now if we were to go and view the site, that's been set to our home page now. Okay, so let's go just back where we were. Now what you would do is you would start setting up your content as normal. For your people that are public, you can just write anything in here and they'll be able to see it. So public stuff is just like any other blog entry. But now let's have a look at private stuff. So what we'll do is here is we'll say private members area. Now there's ways that you can protect the content. So if the public can see this, but only paid members can see this. And all we have to do to protect content is to put this character string before it. There's a square bracket like that, pay, and another one like that. And then when you're all done, you do it again, but you do a slash pay, like so. And then our category will make paid members. Now when we publish this, okay, since we're the admin, we go and view the site and we look at our paid members category. We can see the paid stuff as well. But now let's go through the registration process and show you how this is going to work for a paying member. So let's log out here. First of all, one other thing we need to set is make sure that anyone can register. Okay, so now let's log out and let's register as a new member. If we were to go to the site now and you go click on paid members, it says the public can see this because I can't spell public. But you'll see that where the paid stuff is, there's 3 dots. So that's what's happening there. It's protecting the paid members area. Okay, so let's go and register. And we'll pick a username and an email. So demo user, we'll put an email in down here. And click register, and it sent us an email to our email address, so we check that now. And it emailed us our password. So now we key in our username and our password goes in there. We click login. And there's our window that I was talking about before, telling us we're being redirected to PayPal. Okay, so here's our parameters that we set up. The custom membership, and then 12.49 USD for US dollars for each 30 days. So now what we have to do is sign in here. This is just like a normal PayPal account. This is emulating your buyer side. And click pay. Okay, and then your user would click return to merchant. Okay, and they're back on this page now. Now what happens is the IPN has notified our script on this side. So when I click paid members, you'll see there's the public can see this, but only paid members can see this. So our paid content is now visible. So that's how easy it is to have content on your site that only members can see. Now in the next video, I'll show you a way that you can set up multiple categories for memberships, but only for one-time type of payments, not for subscriptions. Okay, now we're going to look at how to set up a multiple level membership, but for only non-recurring payments. Okay, so let's go back to settings and then our PayPal configuration. Now let's just set our trial period as 9999, which gets rid of the subscription payments. Take this amount out of here. And we'll put 9999 in here so that they basically don't expire. We'll update the options. Now, what we have to do is we have to set up a certain button code to allow this thing to work for users that register as one-time payment members. Well, first of all, let's go have a look at the user manager. We go here and we key in demo user, get the user info. Here's our expiry date, which is 30 days from today. And at that point, PayPal will rebuild them. The IPN, which just ran, will come through here and update this date. Okay, nothing else down here has been purchased. All right, so now let's go back. Now, if we go down here, let's go back to Easy PayPal configuration. And if we go down to the bottom here, we have categories. So let's set up some categories for instance, silver and gold. So let's manage our categories. And we'll add a new one. Call it silver. And gold. Okay. Now, let's go back to settings. And back to Easy PayPal configuration. And then we'll put in here silver. Gold. Is the way we spell them. And we'll update our options. And then down here we have something called payment levels. And this is the tag we need to use as a title of our post to get people to pay for the content that is in gold or silver. And I'll show you what I mean here. So let's go and we'll write a new post or page, doesn't matter which. Actually, we have to write a post because we need to use the categories. Okay, so we'll actually, for the payment side, it doesn't matter whether you use a post or a page. But when we get to the categories, we're going to have to use that. Okay, so I put in payment levels. And now down here, we have to use what's called a pay button. And if we roll down, you'll see down here it says Easy PayPal Instructions, Show Hide. Okay, here's our pay button code. And here's the usage down here. So let's just copy this. And let's paste it in up here. And I'm just going to put, first I'm going to put upgrade or select your member level. Okay, and then I'll put silver. Let's highlight this. Okay, so item number. Now our item number has to be our category number. So let's save this for a sec. And then let's go manage and categories. Now with version 2.5 of WordPress, it doesn't show your category numbers in here anymore. So the way to figure it out is you got to know which order you type them in, unfortunately. So the first two are reserved. The first one is unpublished, which we changed to public. The second one is blog roll. Then we set up a third one called paid members. Silver was number 4 and gold was number 5. Now there is another way to figure this out. You can go into your cPanel, MySQL databases, then go down to phpMyAdmin, then pick your WordPress install. Okay, and then go to WP Terms and just click on this little thing here. And you'll see that public is 1, blog rolls 2, paid members 3, silver is 4, and gold is 5. So that confirms what I just said there. Okay, so we go back here, and now we know that silver is 4 and gold is 5. And we need those in our payment levels. Okay, so come back to our pay button here. Our item name. Okay, so we'll call this silver membership, or whatever you want your name to be on your button. And then your item number is 4. So take all this out. The amount is the amount you're going to charge. Say $9.95. Your currency code, you can leave that blank to default to your default currency, or you can put your currency code in there. Okay, subscription days, that doesn't work in here, so get rid of that. But leave the pipe in there. And hidden text, you can put anything you want here. Okay, there it is there. And then we would just copy this and do the same thing for gold. Okay, so let's copy it. Let's type in gold. And then just change what needs to be changed in here. 5. Change the price. That's it. Okay. Now let's publish. And then let's log out. Now if we go and look at the site, now what we need to do is register for the site. Click register. And then we do the same thing again. Put in a new username and a new email address. Now we'll log in. Okay, now we go and we view the site. So we have silver and gold. Okay, so if we wanted to select the silver level, Click on the PayPal button. Okay, you see it says Silver membership, total $9.95. So then we just log in and proceed. Okay, we pay $9.95 now. Return. Okay, now if we go back and look at you'll see that the silver button has disappeared because it knows that we have silver access level. Okay, now one thing we didn't do when we were in admin was set up members only stuff for silver, so we better go and do that. So I'm going to do that and then we'll come back to this. Okay, first of all, let's correct this mistake in here. Get rid of this word silver because it's a little confusing. There we go. Now, to make our content so only certain people can see them, paying members in other words, we need to create a post, to write a post. And then, so we'll say silver members. Okay, and then all we have to do is pick silver and publish. And then create another one. Call it gold members. Then you put all your gold member content in here. Down here, you would select gold as your category and publish. Okay, now let's log out. Let's have a look at this site. Okay, so under categories gold, if we click on gold, okay, you see we can see the header, but we can't see what's inside there. Same with silver. We can see the header, but we can't see what's in it. Now, if we log in with our user ID, demo user 2, now when we view the site, if we go into gold members, okay, remember we didn't purchase this, so we can't see the content inside there. But if we go to silver, see, there is the silver member content there. So the silver membership is now available to us. So that's how simple it is. If we goes back to the payment levels again, okay, the widget isn't turned on to show the posts. Let's do that to make this a little easier. So let's go to Design, Widgets, and recent posts. And then, of course, we have to put everything else here that we want to, otherwise none of it shows up since we're using widgets now. Archives, whatever you want here. Okay, so let's go with that. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's log out and back in as demo user 2. Okay, let's go back and view the site. Now if we click on gold members, okay, we can't see that. But silver members, we can't see that. Okay, so this works a little better now. So let's go into payment levels. And you'll see that silver's been paid for, gold hasn't. So let's just go ahead and pay for the gold side. People normally aren't going to do this probably, but I just want to show you how you access the other levels. So up here it says 1995 USD for the gold membership. Okay, gold membership 1995 one time. Pay. Now if we go and look at gold members, you'll see that we now have access to gold member stuff because we paid for it. We have silver member stuff, which we paid for. Our payment levels. There's nothing in here to pay for anymore. Okay, now this is still showing here because we turned off the subscription part. So these are now paid members, these gold and silver guys. That's why they can see this. Okay, so that's really it. That's how you can set up your membership site as either a recurring payment site or a single payment site. Now, one more thing I just want to go over here before we sign off. Let's go back and log in as admin again. And if we go to settings and into our configuration here, user manager, demo user 2 we'll put in here. Now remember we put in 9,999 days, so they basically don't expire for a long time. Now down here you can see that they've paid for item number 4 and 5, which are our categories. Okay, so that's basically it. The rest of the WordPress stuff is standard stuff. You're setting up your template, making your other posts, and perhaps setting up permalinks and other categories. But this is the guts of the membership part, and that concludes the video series.